And we're live. Welcome to the Transfer Exchange Show, the review. I am your host, Kieran Stewart. This is the first week I've added that. I don't know, I feel a bit special this week. I don't feel special. I just feel like I want to zhuzh it up a bit. You know what I mean? Take it up a notch. We're starting to get more followers. Yeah. Today's itinerary. It's an Everton edition. It's an Everton special. The Transfer Exchange Everton edition. That's what we're going to call it. We're going to be talking about how Everton got in this season with their new manager, Carlo Ancelotti. We're going to be talking about transfers, the links, the wishy-washy links and the solid links. What's got legs? Have we got an exclusive? We're chasing up ones that we've previously spoken about and letting you know and giving you updates on them. If any developments with youth, any youth coming through that we think that could have a chance of pushing themselves to the Everton first team, and predictions for next year for Everton. We're also going to be talking about the goalkeeper dilemma at Chelsea and Manchester United. How you doing, Goodwin? We're also going to be talking about the dilemma at Chelsea and Man United. David De Gea. People are saying he's done, but for 350 grand a week, is he done, or is he just got to get a little better? We're also going to look at Dean Henderson. Will he have to move on to see first team football? Or does he really have a chance at Manchester United? And of course, Chelsea, Kepa, I can't remember his name. Kepa. His time has surely got to be done at Chelsea. Frank Lampard doesn't fancy him. He didn't even play in the cup final yesterday. And and we all know they're all looking for a goalkeeper, but who are they looking for? Some names thrown about, but some of them price tags are a bit too high for my liking. And of course, the thing that everyone is here for. You all lie and pretend you're here for all this chat beforehand, for the segments. We know you're here for the transfer roundup. We know you're here for the exclusives. But you're going to have to wait for that, and you're going to have to wait till the end of the show. But we've got plenty for you, plenty of excuses, and plenty of behind-the-scenes sort of. We've got some inside information. We're not in the nose. We're not. We just speak to people, and we do a lot of research. And yes, we've managed to find the right sources that we can trust, and we're giving them to you. First up. Make sure you like the video. Please, I should say please. I was brought up right. I got some manners. Please like, share, and subscribe. We're going to even this up a little bit. Boom. And we're going to say hello to our scouts. How you doing, boys?
Hello, everybody.
First up on my top right. I've moved it around a bit today. Yeah, I've moved it around because I felt a little bit of jealousy going on. I had Simon next to me for 2 weeks in a row. People were looking at him funny, a few daggers. So I've moved it around a bit. Steve's next to me today. How you doing, Steve?
How you doing, Kieran? Hello, everybody out there. Thanks for joining us.
I'm good. And the bottom left, we've got the marksman. How you doing, Jerome?
Evening, lads. Evening, all you toffees.
Hey, here we go. He's getting right in the mood. He's going to have a Scouse accent by the end of this episode. And at the bottom right, we've got the chef, a.k.a. Champions. Don't even shout. Just say hello, Si.
Sorry, Everton. Champions!
That's the only one you're allowed to date. That is the only one you're allowed to date. All right. We're going to get right into it. First up, Everton. How have they done this season? They started off with Marco Silva as their manager. It didn't work. It didn't work, and it was feeling a little bit like Everton were going too far the other way. It was like, I don't know, it was trying to play as expansive football, and 1 week it was looking brilliant, the next week it was looking absolutely miserable. But they got rid of him, and they brought in the big man, the Italian stallion, Carlo Ancelotti. There was a lot of to-ing and fro-ing. Where will he go to Arsenal? Will he go to Everton? He chose Everton, and a lot of Arsenal fans and a lot of world football, well, there was a lot of jealousy, a lot of envy, and then we're wondering why he's going to Everton. But I think it's a good opportunity for Everton and a good opportunity for Carlo Ancelotti when a lot of people were, well, but a fair few people were turning around and saying he's past it. And I think that's far from it. Everton ended up finishing 12th in the league. And while Ancelotti was there, he got 30 points from 20 games. And I'm sure Everton fans will say, for a manager of Carlo Ancelotti's standard, it's not been a great season. It's not been a great season, but he had a lot to deal with a team that was going in the wrong direction with recruitment and in the league. And a team of this stature definitely deserves better than that. Steve, how do you feel that Everton got on this season, and what do you think was the problem?
I think that, as you say, they finished 12th. They've only finished 10 points off of a European place, so that's only maybe 3 games. Carlo Ancelotti has come in when he did, and he's had to see who he wants to deal with and who he don't. I don't think there's a problem with Everton. He's came in. I think he'll be quite happy with where he is at the moment. He'll be sifting out the players that he wants to stay. He'll know what positions he needs. You've got one of the top managers in the world. I think they've got a great base for this season. I don't think 12th is such a bad position. I think Everton fans looks at it, at the ones I spoke to, as it was a matter of him coming in and seeing what's what, and then going next season. I mean, next season then is you would get more of an idea of whether Ancelotti is the right man or not. I feel he is, but only 10 points off Europe. That's no, and they can easily take over Wolves and Leicester, who they're battling at it with at the minute. Money seems to be coming into the club. Mm-hmm. I don't think it's just a set, but they've done that bad this season, and I think they've got a very good base to push on for next season.
Yeah, there's no doubt they've got a very good base, but I'm talking about in the grand schemes of the whole season. As the fans, I'm sure they'd have been disappointed from the start of it, as you would. I mean, if you're talking about it from a perspective where Arsenal lost Unai Emery and then Arteta came in, the time that Arteta has had there, you'd be happy with that. But the overall season, you'll be disappointed. That's what I mean. It's not disappointment because I'm sure Everton, with the finances they've got and the signings they made, Richarlison, I mean, they spent 40 million on Alex Iwobi. Which I mean, many fans would probably thank him for, and many fans would apologise for him. But in the grand scheme of things, I'm sure that they're definitely in the right hands with Carlo Ancelotti and their chairman. Jerome, where do you think it went wrong in terms of with Marco Silva? What do you think lost it for him?
I think just purely results, really, for Silva. I mean, if you're looking at the managers, I mean, Ancelotti, he's such a big name. He's won everything. So to get a manager in like him, I'm sure all the Everton fans were delighted. Going back to how they've done this season, they were a bit unlucky towards the end of the season. They dropped quite a few points the last few games, and obviously the last game, but the season they didn't do too well. That like you said before, the manager there will get backed financially. They've spent a lot of money, and looking at where they finished 12th, you'd think that the fans, obviously, they would expect a lot higher finish next season, considering Ancelotti will have a whole season. He'll have the pre-season to buy some new players, and I'm expecting next season they'll finish higher. You got to fancy they'll finish higher than 12th. But yeah, I think in terms of Silva or Ancelotti, I definitely think they've got a manager with all the experience to make sure they have a decent season next season.
Yes, Simon, do you feel like they're in the right hands, or do you think they made the right choice for Carlo Ancelotti? Yeah,
of course they did. Any Everton fan that says that they're worried about Ancelotti and they think he's the wrong manager, stop watching football. Sorry. I'm not here to offend you or anything like that, but Ancelotti would be fantastic for Everton. When just giving the players that he wants, look how long it took at Napoli for him to get that team basically up and running. And they didn't have world-class players or names, but they had 11 players that died for the manager. They had 11 players that did everything: score goals, defend, create, all that. With Ancelotti and Everton, I guarantee Everton fans, if they keep Ancelotti and let him bring his players in, you will then, I won't say be a match with Liverpool, but when Liverpool come to Goodison, they will not roll you over. They will come to Goodison and think, right, we need to be on it today because this team could rip us to pieces. The two things that you need to do: get rid of Theo Walcott. Sorry, is not for Everton. I'm fair enough and all that. It's not for Everton. I think you can do better. Go and get someone like Wilfred Zaha if you can get him. Go and get him. Get rid of Pickford and go and get Kasper Schmeichel. That's what I would do. Because obviously, with Leicester City, they're in the Europa League, but Kasper Schmeichel's been there. He's won a league. If he wants a new challenge, then go and get him. Because Man United apparently are looking at Kasper Schmeichel.
We'll get on to players they're going to be bringing on. Ancelotti's fully dedicated to the cause. He's given the players minimal time off on holiday. He wants them back within the next 2 weeks. He's also said that he's only going to be having a little brief holiday, if any, in Crosby, keeping it local. You've got to love that. That's pure dedication.
He's got to get used to the league, and he's getting used to the league. But once he knows how we attack. But once he knows how teams attack, how teams defend, what players he needs, I need to buy this. Look at Pep Guardiola when he first came to the Premier League. City were getting smashed. They even got smashed by Everton. Then he worked out.
This hasn't got anything to do with Carlo Ancelotti getting to know the league. Carlo Ancelotti's won the league with Chelsea. He's won the FA Cup. He's an experienced manager. He's been there, seen it, he's done it before. I think in the time that he's been here, with the squad that he's not his players, he's done well. I think that it's the fact that they're not his players, which is the reason why Everton have not ticked the way he wants them to. The disappointment I'm talking about is the full season as a whole. As an exciting as when Mario Silva came in, there was excitement. There was that buzz because he came in. He was in demand. He was in demand from a few teams. He brought in players. He brought in the players that he wanted, and it didn't work out. So there's that first sign, that first bit of disappointment. Then he leaves, and then a new manager comes in. You get that lift again. It's Carlo Ancelotti. So you're automatically thinking, we're going to hit the ground running. And they did. He started really well. It died off a bit because they're not his players. And that's what I feel. Recruitment-wise, who are they after?
Alan on Napoli.
Who are the players that Everton are after to bring in to turn their fortunes around? The players that Carlo Ancelotti wants. Simon, start with you.
From Napoli, Alan. They've been talking to him and a contract and all that. What I've read and stuff, and that's close to being. It could be done. So there's your upgrade on Sigurdsson. Then you've got Wilfred Zaha that they were close to going for last summer, but they ran out of time towards deadline day with Palace just messing about with this. This is how much money we want, and basically making it impossible for Zaha to move. Mm-hmm. There were there's how's the other one? I need to remember them. There's a centre back that they're after from Atletico Madrid. That's like a squad player. There's him. I need to remember some of the names with Everton's other linked with. If any of you lot know any names as well.
Jerome, who have you seen that Everton are linked with?
So there's one that's been doing the rounds for a while. Is the Lille centre back who's very in demand? Gabriel Magal Hayes. Oh, yeah. He's been heavily linked with them, but there's a few other clubs that are in for him as well. There's the Bournemouth midfielder David Brooks.
That'd be a good sign.
There's Matty Longstaff from Newcastle. Is he not going Udinese? There was a lot of talk about him going Udinese. He's I know his contract runs out and he can sign for Udinese, and I know that Newcastle were trying to tie him down to a new deal, but he's not. I don't think he's signing it. No. No, he's he'd be obviously be a free transfer as well. So yeah, there's also a left back from Real Madrid called Sergio Reguilon, who's been on loan at Sevilla. But the thing is that Everton's left back at the moment is Lucas Digne, and he's a very good player.
He's mustard.
Yeah, so that would be a bit of a strange one, I think, because that's not really a position they need to strengthen in.
I was going to touch on that if you guys spoke about him.
Well, Baines has retired, so Digne would need some competition because Baines has retired now. Digne's got no competition.
Yeah.
So bringing Reguilon in and Digne on, that exactly what Jerome said. Digne's top notch. I've loved this. I've liked this geezer for a long while. But bringing Reguilon in as a backup would be a good idea.
Yeah, but I mean, he came from Lille, went to PSG, and has played for Barcelona. And you don't play for any of them three clubs, especially brought up through Lille, which is an excellent academy, if you've not got anything about you. As Jerome said, he's a top player, and one player that Everton should be very happy that they've got. Steve, did you have any players that Everton were linked with?
Well, a lot of them have been said. I was going to say the Reguilon one that Jerome said. Brooks, I keep hearing about. It won't go away. From having like 4 links to different clubs. Brooks now it just seems down to the one with Everton.
Declan Rice.
Most of them are the ones that the boys have already said. The only one that I see linked that hasn't been said was Joshua King. That I see was linked with Everton. Again, you try and think, would he be that type of player? I don't know. They seem pretty bottled up front. They're not bad up front with Carlson. They've got Calvert-Lewin. But yeah, Joshua King.
But what I will say about that, Steve, they may be bottled up front, but and I'll get on to some of who's the shining lights, I call them, and the players that need to go in a minute. But Dominic Calvert-Lewin for me was a player who I didn't see what the hype was about. Then Ancelotti came in, and then now I see what the hype's about. He's tall, he's got good feet, he's strong, he's got good pace. And now he shoots. Now he actually shoots on goal, and he scores goals. And it's another player that you've got to be excited about seeing for the future for England as well. But then you've got Richarlison. Other than that, who can you really say is a player that you're going to bring on to either challenge in that spot for Dominic Calvert-Lewin or be backup for that? Because they've got Tucson. Not good enough.
You got Moise Kean.
Moise Kean. That's another one.
Who's only 19 years old.
Yeah.
And I that's one thing you Everton fans must be very, very excited about. 19. I mean, Ronaldo got him to stay for another year at the club. Just because he wanted him to stay there. He was that good. But Moise Kean, yeah, he's definitely one. For the future for Everton.
Yeah, and I think they need to just before I move on, Zeki Çelik has just agreed personal terms with Everton. That happened literally about 20 minutes before we come on. Left back from Lille, I think it is. Sorry, not a left back, a right back from Lille. He's wanted by Tottenham and a few other teams, but it looks like he's agreed personal terms with Everton, and I think it's just the clubs have to agree a fee. But Everton are pretty good with money at the moment, so I can't see that being
They've got some bad ones at the moment. Simon mentioned Theo Walcott. He seems to be at the end of his career. Alex Iwobi seems to be a lot of money, and what happened to Yannick Bolasie?
So this is what I mean. There's quite a few players on the books that need to go. Jerome, who do you think needs to be moved on from Everton?
God. Well, now I don't think he's going to go because he's an excellent player for them. But Yerry Mina has recently changed his agent, and sometimes when people do that, that's a sign that they're looking for a move. But I don't think he'll stay. I've seen that they're looking to get rid of Cenk Tosun, the centre forward. So he'll probably raise a little bit of money for them. You know what? They've been unlucky this season, Everton, because they bought a central midfielder, Jean-Philippe Gbamin, and he's been injured the whole season. They spent 25 million on him, and he hasn't really played at all. So yeah, who else? Maybe the goalkeeper,
Jordan Pickford, and that's another one that I didn't know how Everton fans felt about Pickford, but it seems to be clear that they're not happy with him. There's a goalkeeper in there, but is it got to the point where he's kind of been found out when it comes to a certain level or a certain style? It doesn't always have to be the keeper's not good enough. Sometimes it's just the style of play doesn't suit the team. And could that be Pickford? Another player, Fabian Delph, probably needs to go. He's been linked with Leeds, so it looks like they also agree with that, and they feel like his time's done up at Everton. Sancho Ramirez, I know he's only got a year left on his contract, but he's taking home 70 grand a week, and they're the kind of players that they don't play anymore, so they need to be sold, and you've got to work out some way of getting them off the books. Michael Keane, is he really? Is he consistent enough for the level that you want to go to? If you're going to have a squad player, for me, it can't be a Michael Keane who's probably on really good money. Gylfi Sigurdsson, as you said before, these are players where the recruitment is been the problem. It's been the recruitment. The players like Gylfi Sigurdsson on 100 grand a week, and now he's got 2 or 3 years left on his contract. It's baffling. It's baffling, and he's lost his pace. You need to work out some way of getting him off the books, whether it's selling him for a really, really low fee. But 100 grand a week is just going to eat away, and you don't want someone sitting there stagnating just because they want to take home the wage. So that's not good. One thing we also looked at is the youth system. Everton have a well-renowned youth system. Facility is excellent, but I personally had a look at the youth system, and the one thing I noticed, and it may have something to do with the 18-month ban they had on buying academy players, is the age of the youth of the players in the under-23s team. They're quite old. They're like, you're looking at about 20, 22, 21, and it's ranging from about 19 and upwards. Whereas I know a lot of other youth teams, they're bringing through their 16 and 17-year-olds into the under-23s, get them used to playing men's football. And I just feel like a little bit of it is players are stagnating in that under-23s. Some of them players I feel like are of a level and should be either going out to play for championship clubs. I know that you recently sent out one on loan to Hull. That they should be doing that more. You need to get more of them players out. Are they good enough to be coming through into the first team? Move them on and bring through some youngsters. Give them a chance to play with the bigger kids. Steve, I know you looked into who did you really like?
As you said, the players that I really like the look of, which were around the 19-20 mark, have really sort of already made their mark slowly into the first team already. Then there's a massive gap behind, which needs to be filled. The names that I see was Jared Braithwaite.
Just come through.
I thought he was a very good player. I think he's had 4 games this season. And then you've got Benny Bagnaim, another very good player, midfield general. And then you've got a striker called Ellis Sims, who I watched a bit of, and again he was fantastic. But they're already at that top end, and they're already going into the first team. And it's like there seems to be a gap.
Yeah.
When you're going behind. I mean, the best I could fight the players you had. You got Kyle John. I like the look of Kyle John.
Yeah.
Dennis Aduranium.
That's the one I had written down.
I think he looked really good.
He does.
And the other one was Nathangelo Markelo, who again another player who looked really good. But for me, there's not enough. There's not enough. There was those, and there seems to be a big gap. And you're right what you said. State of the art Everton Academy, unbelievable. Sort of looks upon David Unsworth is sort of running it, looking down on it. A fantastic team going right down to the under 10s, right up until the under 23s. But when you think that when you've got all those levels, under 10s, under the 18s, under 23s, the amount of players that are coming through are very few and far between. Yeah. But the ones that I mentioned are very, very good. And if they can find players like that, then the future's bright.
Yeah, one of the players you mentioned was Dennis Adriani. He came from Fulham for 3.5 million like 3 years ago. It feels like that player should have either been introduced to the first team or maybe got a loan out. Maybe sent him over to Germany with you've seen what they're doing in Germany, where they trust in these players to give them games week in, week out. It's a different style of football. You'll be getting a different player when he comes back. They mature differently in a different country. Little things like that. I don't see the point in having a £3.5 million youth player, then just sitting me under 23s until he's 21. It seems like a bit of a waste to me. One player who I really like the look of is Fraser Hornby. He's just been sold to Reims. Really classy player, but for me, his style doesn't suit the English game. It suits a foreign game. He takes the game in his stride. He slows it down. He dictates the pace. In the Premier League, you're getting clattered. If you're not playing at a top team like that, you're not going to have that sort of protection around you. You're not going to have that freedom. In France, you may do. So good luck to him. And I think it's going to be a player we may see back in this country at another club in the not too distant future.
The one good thing about those players we just mentioned is that Ancelotti trusts them. He trusts all those players mentioned, so he's like that. He's to bring him into the first team. So I think next season you're going to see a lot more of him.
Yeah. One last thing. Predictions for next season with Carlo Ancelotti. Let's just say he gets the signings that he wants. A couple of signings that he's after is Everton Soares. If you've not seen him, exciting, fully exciting. This player, he's got skills, he's got pace, he's an entertainer. He's Brazilian to the max. Like if you didn't know what nationality is and you watched him play football, you'd be like, that geezer's Brazilian. Like, he's mustard. If you can get him, if Everton can get him in, that's the kind of winger you want. Everton need more pace in the team. Another player thereafter is Allen. Just a little update on Allen. For me, Allen's done. Napoli already buying replacements for Allen. 35 million. And personal terms were agreed a while ago. With the Gabriel signing, he's going to make his decision this week. He's just been over to England to have talks with a couple of other English clubs. Everton and Napoli, I've been told, are favourites. And yeah, it's out of Everton and Napoli at the end of the day. They both agreed personal terms with both, and it's just who he wants to decide to play for.
They've got a good defender though in their youth system that I've done research on. A very good defender, Joseph Anderson, if you've heard of him.
Go on.
Really good. Started off as a left-sided midfielder, and that was the age of 12. Then he was told by one of the Everton ex-players, who's now at an academy scout basically for the club. He told him basically to go to left back. So he went to left back at age 13 and ended up being on the same par as what Kieran Tierney's done at the minute with Arsenal, with what he's doing basically. Then he moved from left back and he moved into central midfield, where Sigurdsson plays. And this is the crazy thing about it. Then basically he's done midfield, he's done left back, and then someone told him it moved him to centre back in a game against I think it was Leeds, in the FA Youth Cup quarter-final, and he got man of the match performance. He was 16 years of age at this point. 15 years of age, at this point. He even had Rio Ferdinand watching him as well. Rio were watching him. And at the minute, he's now found his position as a centre-back. So he's gone from basically 3 different positions, and then now he's found his natural position, which is a centre-back. He's done absolutely fantastic. He's got 15 clean sheets so far in the youth academy, and he's got 2 goals. He scored 2 goals, but he's played 27 games. So he's actually found his right position where he wants to be. And really promising. David Unsworth is training with him at the minute for the under-23s.
And with him playing all them other positions, I'm sure that will make him a more rounded player.
Versatile,
in that centre-back role. One other player I wanted to talk about before we move on. Hopefully we've done you justice today, Everton. We love you out there, and we're going to be digging out for more players. Braithwaite, I've not heard too much on, but
he's a good player.
He's a very good player, and we're going to look into that as well. Tom Davies was the last one. He came through. There's a lot of hype about Tom Davies, and it seems to have gone a little bit flat with him. A few of the fans moaned about his pace, and I was debating in my head whether it's time for him to move on or they should stay and give him a chance. I feel like with players like Tom Davies, when they're born and bred Everton or born and bred for the club, they come through the youth system at 8 years of age and they playing at a level. Like Tom Davies is not a rubbish player. He's still playing in the Everton first team. You can't go from where he was to what people are moaning at now. I feel like as a player, you keep that player. There's certain players you keep, and I think you've got to have a bit of your youth system and a bit of your club always there in the team, in and around the team. And for me, Tom Davies is one of them players. I watched an interview with him the other day, which kind of made me change my mind on him. And it was because I weren't thinking about selling. I was thinking, is it a loan? But I think under a good manager and a bit more just sort of confidence in himself. Remember, he's still growing mentally as a footballer. I think he's one you've got to keep because you want to keep your identity of the club, and it's players like that will always keep the identity of the team. Next up. It's the goalkeeping dilemma at Manchester United and Chelsea. We've got Kepa. Is he done? We've got David De Gea. People are saying he's done. He's over the hill. He's past it. I mean, he's 29. He's mental. And then we've got Dean Henderson knocking on the door. He's had a really good couple of seasons at Sheffield United. He's got them up. He's got to come up with them, and he's carried on that form while he's been in the Premier League, even earning himself an England cap or an England call-up. Let's start with Simon. What do Man United do? And we'll start with Man United. What do Man United do with David De Gea and Dean Henderson? What do they do? Do they go out and buy a player? Do they bring in Dean Henderson? Do they still stick with David De Gea?
I think Man United need to stick with David De Gea. I mean, on 370 grand a week, only just signed his new contract. I think with David De Gea, it's a bit weird with him because it's like he don't want to be there. He don't look happy. He never looks happy at all. He's constantly got the press and his own players, basically, just like pointing at him and having a go at him because he's making little errors. I won't say De Gea's finished. You can't say De Gea's finished, not at the age that he is. He's just lacking confidence. A David De Gea with confidence is the scariest goalkeeper I think I've seen since probably Peter Schmeichel. It's crazy. But this is the thing, when he's gone so long with a rubbish defence in front of him, now he's got a decent defence in front of him, he's getting exposed more now with this better defence. He hasn't got Phil Jones and Smalling to deal with. He's got Harry Maguire and Lindelof, which is an upgrade on them two. And then he's making more mistakes now, though, with those two centre-backs. If it were Phil Jones and Smalling, you could understand. He's having to do everything like he's done for so many years.
Do you think he's switching off because he's got better players in front of him?
I don't know. I don't think he wants to be there. I don't think he wants to be at Man United. I think he's shot himself in the foot with signing a new contract. Because we all know he wanted to go to Real Madrid. We all knew this. And it was a fax machine that destroyed it. But I just think he does need to leave, though, De Gea. I think he does. There's too much pressure on him at Man United at the minute. Because if he keeps playing goal, they're just going to keep peppering him and keep having a go at him. And then it's just going to get on top of him and he'll either snap one day and just go AWOL. Or he'll just get to a point and go, why should I care? Why should I bother? You're not helping me. Why should I bother?
All right. Jerome, what do you think Man United should do with the David De Gea and the Henderson situation? Do you think they should go out and buy a new goalkeeper? Do you think that Henderson's the man to take his spot? Or do you think they stick with David De Gea?
Yeah, it's a bit of a conundrum, this one. I think he's made De Gea, as good as he has been, he's made a lot of errors recently. And any other position on the pitch, if a player makes those amount of errors, they'll maybe be on the bench the next week. I think they're in the perfect position, United, to give Henderson a chance. They don't need to sell De Gea now. They don't need to sell Henderson. Give Henderson a chance. See what he's all about, and make it so there's some competition between the keepers. And then if it's not working, then they can reassess it in the winter when the window opens again. So otherwise, I think they'll be making sort of rash decisions. This way, you're not making any rash decisions. You're not selling anyone, and and De Gea's performances might improve if he's got some proper competition. But I think if there's ever a chance for Henderson to have a go, now is that time.
Yeah. So, Steve, what are you doing? You giving Henderson a shot?
Yeah, definitely. I totally agree with what the boys have already said. For me, David De Gea hasn't been the same goalkeeper for the last 3 years. Going back as far as that, if this guy was playing for anyone else, for any other team, he would have been dropped by now. You would have had Henderson been brought back. They've got a perfectly good goalkeeper in Romero, who very rarely lets Manchester United down. He must look from the bench and think, this bloke's making all these mistakes week in, week out, and which they have become now week in, week out. What's going on? Why ain't I getting the chance? Because if it was any of the top managers, like if it was Pep or Klopp or Arteta or anybody else, De Gea would not be in goal now. It's just mistake after mistake, week after week. But the thing is, what Simon said, right, is exactly right. And it's the worst thing of all why he shouldn't be in goal for Manchester United. It shows so much that he just does not look bothered. He does not look bothered between the sticks. The mistakes he makes, where he's just, the ball's coming to him and they go to pick it up, it'll go through his legs. And he's like, and that happens time after time after time again. Lack of concentration.
Yeah.
So much now. I think, but Man United seem to be scared to drop him. There's almost like this fear to drop him because he's got two perfectly good goalkeepers.
Yeah. I think the fear comes from the fact that if you drop De Gea, goalkeepers are a different kind of energy, mate. Like, they're a different mindset. They're a different animal. Like, they're very sensitive creatures.
Yeah.
And if you drop a goalkeeper, it sends a solid message to him. If you're saying to the goalkeepers, there are no number ones, you have to fight for your spot, it's slightly different. But if you are dropping a goalkeeper based on his mistakes, I don't think you get that goalkeeper back.
Yeah.
It's very hard to get.
That's why I won't put Henderson in goal.
It's very hard to get that goalkeeper back. And if you've got 370 grand a week sitting on the bench for 4 years, is it 3 or 4 years he's got left? Then you're in trouble. What you need to do is one or two things: find a buyer, or get him back. Personally, I think, like you said, If you're gonna bring in Dean Henderson, it's got to be the kind of you're both fighting for your spot. But I think you got to do it very carefully.
It's too risky. It's too risky for Dean Henderson. You're chucking him into Lion's Den, and he's the meat.
Dean Henderson is go on.
De Gea needs that. He needs that competition.
He does need the competition. He needs the competition. But this is what I'm saying. You have to. It sounds petty. You've got to do it in a way, and it sounds petty. But you've got a player there who's on 370 grand a week with 3 years left. Who needs a goalkeeper right now?
Romero, though, number 2 goalkeeper, is a better goalkeeper than Henderson, in my opinion. He just doesn't get the opportunity.
And he wants to lead. But who needs... And this is what Man United would probably thought. Man United would have thought about this. Who needs a goalkeeper now?
Chelsea.
PSG? Chelsea ain't buying De Gea.
No.
And this is what I mean. And there's very
Not in that form.
There's very minimal clubs you can send him to on 370 grand a week. And Man United would have thought about this before they start bringing Henderson back and saying, yeah, you're dropped, you're in. I think they're going to word it in a way which is you are both fighting for your spot in, and that's the best time to do it. Pre-season, there's no number one right now. You're fighting for your spot, and whoever wins it keeps it. And then you've got to get
what contract?
That's it. It's like Leno and Martinez.
What contract is he on?
Who, David De Gea?
Yeah. Do we know?
David De Gea's got 3 years left on his contract on 370 grand a week. Yeah. They signed him up on a 6-year deal in 2018, Steve. It's mental. So they've signed their own death wish. And that's the problem. That's the problem. They can't get him off the books. And if you got a situation like many clubs have had where they've got someone on the books that they want to get rid of, but they can't and no one wants them, you've got to work with that player or find a buyer. And that's the dangerous spot they're in. They have to be very careful with the way they bring Henderson in if they want Henderson. And Henderson has to come in from a club with no expectations. Like, it's low expectations. Whatever you want to say, Chris Wilder's done a brilliant job and he gets the best out of them. He probably puts expectations on them and says, we are good enough to be here. That's a different kind of mindset than you are expected to week in, week out, not make any mistakes and be one of the best players in the country, if not Europe. And they're the differences. And you've got to be able to see whether Henderson's ready for that as well. It's a tough one. It's a very, very tough one. I think that David De Gea, personally, as a goalkeeper myself, David De Gea he's got no motivation. There's no motivation right now. I wouldn't necessarily put it down to always thinking that players don't want to be there. It could be many things: the coach, the training, the goalkeeper coach that he has. There's so many different things for a player's mentality, and it doesn't always have to be that you don't want to be at that place. I've played in places where I enjoyed the players around me, but didn't like the football. The football didn't agree. I didn't agree with the football. I didn't like the way they played football. And I didn't enjoy it there. And when you're not enjoying your football, you're half the player, a quarter of the player that you are. So it's a tough one.
It's one of the reasons why I hate the media. Sorry, it's one of the reasons why I hate the media, because I'm not digging people out here or anything like that. You know, you've got United Stand and you've got all these United channels. When they're going on there and De Gea makes a mistake and they say he's crap, get him out, go get Henderson. The media pick that up and they go, you know what, we'll run with that, we'll run with it.
But the media are always
puts more pressure.
But the media are always going to do that. That's not down to any of these fan pages. That's the media. It's lazy. It's lazy journalism. It's lazy journalism. It's one of the reasons I got into this, because I was sick of people saying that that's the general consensus of the team that I support, and it was never that.
Man United have got to find an answer, because he ain't right, and Man United won't get till 4th Champions League places or higher with the way De Gea is at this particular moment in time. You know, he needs to change. Something needs to change, whether it's competition, whether it's Henderson, whether it's Romero, whether it's bringing someone else in. Something's got to seriously happen with De Gea. You know, I mean, is it because of his contract? You know, and all of a sudden his foot's gone off the pedal? I don't know. But
this is a player who won player of the season 2 years on the trot for the club. He's coming up. He's 29, and as we all know, goalkeepers start hitting their peak in their 30s. So again, it's a lot to think about. Time to move on to the situation at Chelsea. It's Kepa, £70 million, euros, pence. I'm sorry. I'm not in the. It's got GK Union for me, mate. But Kepa, I from day one, I didn't understand what they were paying for there. When you see him, he's very slight. You're expecting someone who's pulling out saves like top corner, and no one can touch him. But he can't even save a basic shot. He's got He's got the worst save stats in the Premier League.
Attitude.
It's awful. Last season, when he was told to come off by his manager, he told the manager no. And I don't care if it was a miscommunication. You come off. I would have been fuming.
He'd never play for me again if I was manager.
Never miscommunication. I'll tell you what. I won't tell you what, because no, I'm not going to go there. But yeah, grievous bodily harm. That's all I'm saying. Kepa, Jerome, he's got to move on. But who are they going to get in? He didn't play in the cup final. He's not playing again. Who are they getting in? And who's going to buy him?
God, obviously sometimes you got to cut your losses, but that is a big loss to cut. So a couple of goalies that are obviously their second choice, Willy Caballero, he's 38, so he probably won't be around much longer to play for them. Yeah, so they're going to have to sign probably 2 new keepers. Yeah. They've been linked with Nick Pope from Burnley, but whether he's I don't know about that one. Now there's a goalkeeper in France who plays for Lille. Another one they've been linked with. He was in the team of the season last season, called Mike Magnan. He's 25, 6'3". By all accounts, was one of the main reasons Lille done so well last season. But coming into the Premier League, it'd be another risk, wouldn't it? So they're in a tricky situation. They're in terms of the United and Chelsea situation. Chelsea are in a far worse position than United.
One thing I think they do need to buy, and just being Chelsea, like certain teams have certain players, certain types of players, and it can change. But what you'll find is a certain team plays in a certain way because that's just the way the club likes it run, and they carry on that through generations. And certain teams have certain players. Chelsea, for the last 20 years, have been a team of athletes, and their goalkeeper is not one of them. Now, I feel they need a goalkeeper with presence. It's a reason why they were probably linked with a player like Oblak, because he's got that presence. He looks physically scary if you're going to challenge him with the ball. He's the kind of player that goes and collects the ball and comes out with players' ankles as well. Like that's what they want. But Kepa's not that player. And with Lampard being that sort of he's not an old school manager, but he's a manager that knows that was his upbringing with big goalkeepers. Steve, who are Chelsea linked with? Who do you reckon they're going to get? What do they do with Kepa?
Well, he's just lost friends at a massive rate, isn't he, Kepa? Ever since the horror show when he refused to get off the pitch. But he's not a fan of Lampard's, and I think Kepa knows that. And I think there's 2 different personalities. You had Sarri's personality, and you had Lampard's personality. Sarri, he thought he could get away with it. Lampard, he ain't letting him get away with nothing. So you're on your bike, Sam. As far as people coming in, Caballero, good goalkeeper, but as Jerome said, he's at the back end of his career. There's no doubt he's got to go. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I mean, I'd always prided myself on sort of, of knowing most footballers all over the world. But when this guy used to come, I'd never heard of him.
Do you think they were trying to follow the David De Gea suit?
And I was like, who's this? 71 million. I was like, I hid in the toilet for about a week because I didn't know who he was, because people kept talking about him. But goalkeepers. You've got the Ajax goalkeeper, Anua. I think it's Ajax. Is it Ajax? I think it's
yeah.
Ajax. Then you got Oblak, who's a possible. But I think it was you, Kieran, who said that Atletico Madrid don't feel that that it'll go. You got Donnarumma, who was linked today to Chelsea, but just a personal, just like if I could go and have a word with Frank Lampard, what I would do, I would go to Bayern Munich and I would get their number 2 goalkeeper, Nubel, and I'd take him on loan for a year or a couple, because he's not getting past Neuer for the next 2 years. So I definitely think that was a phone call, especially where even their number 3 goalkeeper was just as good as well.
All their goalkeepers are mustard. It's a joke.
Yeah, I know. That Nubel is an absolutely fantastic goalkeeper. He's played for Germany a few times as well already. But he's going to be sitting on the bench for the next 2 years. So, yeah, but they're the goalkeepers I've seen mentioning. But these two, De Gea and Kepa, are like the gruesome twosome, aren't they? I mean, you just what
do you do? With them?
so much. I mean, the thing is, De Gea's got quality. I don't see any quality in this other geezer. I don't see.
I'm laughing at this, what I'm reading. Absolutely laughing.
So, Si, what do you do with Kepa, and who do you replace him with?
There's nothing you can do with Kepa. He signed for 71 million, 80 million euros. Do you know how much Kepa's on? Salary? Have a guess.
120 grand a week.
Nowhere near. Keep going.
Come on, what is it?
200 a week.
Steve's nearly right. 195,000 a week Kepa's on a 6-year deal on 71 million.
6 years? Oh my God!
6 years. 6 years. He was on when he signed.
Kids, mate.
When he signed, well, this is the funny thing. When he signed, he was only on 35k at Atletico.
What sort of management is that? That's nonsense. That's
the highest paid goalkeeper in world football. The highest paid goalkeeper. Alisson is only on 125 a week. All Black, 85k a week. 85 for All Black.
De Gea's on 375, mate, for the next 3 years. Like
Leno, 55k a week. That's business for you. That's business.
Yeah, I mean, if you're buying in a player that's on 30 grand a week, you don't give him 190 grand, do you? That's mental.
God, why do you think he left?
How long has he been there? Kepa? How long
2 years.
2 years, sorry. 2 years.
2 years.
Oh.
4 years to go.
You ain't getting rid of him. If I'm his agent, I'm saying, yeah, you can pay half my wages if I have to go to another club.
They're stuck with Ozil. It's an Ozil situation.
You're not getting rid of him. I heard that Seville or Atletico want to take him on a season on loan. But are they going to pay 195 grand a week? They're going to be asking Chelsea to pay a proportion of that wages. Like it's a real mess over there. And Frank Lampard, I'm sure, as soon as he came in and saw what Kepa was about, he was probably thinking 71 million. Like, you must be having a laugh. Next up, it's the Golden Boy Awards. It's one each again this week. I think I've been friendly. I think I've been kind.
I've got a cracker.
Oh, here we go. Go on, Si. Let's start with you, Si. What you got?
I've got Manchester City's new boy.
Go on.
Is it Ferran Torres?
Ah, yeah, Ferran Torres. Yeah,
this guy is brilliant. I am excited by this guy.
Just a little lead up to this. I'm going to jump to a little bit of the transfer roundup first, just to give you a little. Manchester City have just about to seal or have sealed the signing of Ferran Torres. We broke it ages ago. Steve was speaking to a few people he knows that have got close contacts with Man City, and Steve dropped the price. It didn't drop the price. Valencia dropped the price. People didn't drop the price. But we told you that Mansour and Lim had conversations about it. They wanted to get it done. And Steve managed to pull out the valuation a week before the big man, Fabrizio Romero, did. You know what I mean? All I'm saying is, you want the news first, come to the transfer page. But yeah,
That one.
for everyone.
Please follow us. Please follow us, Fabrizio.
Yeah, like, share, and subscribe. Like, share, and subscribe. Simon. So, for everyone who doesn't know what Ferran Torres is about, what kind of a player is he?
Absolutely electrifying. I've watched a few videos on YouTube about him, but I've also done a bit of research on him. And to me, he's going to give Mahrez a run for his money. He's really going to give Mahrez a run for his money. Pep Guardiola, for me, here, has got kind of the player that Alexis Sanchez was for Arsenal. Is absolutely electrifying. Goals, assist galore. Can play on the left, can play on the right, can play as a number 10. Versatile, absolutely fantastic player. He can play in midfield as well and chip in. Like, anywhere you want him to play. Is a team player. Goals, assists galore. 24 assists for Valencia B. 12 goals. Then he moved up to proper Valencia.
How many games? How many games? 24 assists and 12 goals.
Yeah, it's mental. 6 assists. That's for Valencia B. He moved in 2006 to Valencia youth career. He's been there since 2017. 12 appearances. And then in 2017, he had 71 appearances. And what was that? 19 goals. 6 goals the following year. Then he went to Spain under 17s, 24 appearances and only 3 goals. Then he went to under 19s, 17 appearances, 9 goals. Then Spain under 21, where he linked up fantastic with Dani Ceballos. Sergio Ramos has said he's going to be a future Real Madrid superstar.
Yeah, he's jumping
in the future.
Good luck trying to get him off of Man City.
Yeah, Man City.
With that, they can barely afford a pint of milk at the moment at Real Madrid. I don't know how they're going to be able to price Ferran Torres when Man City got him for 40 million. Like, it's an absolute steal.
But Real Madrid were looking at him in 2015 for 25 million euros, and Real Madrid said that they don't think he'd be able to cut it in La Liga.
How wrong they were.
How wrong, big time. Then one of the Real, what's this one now? Writing's really small. La Liga debut on the 16th of December, playing only 11 minutes and scoring 2 goals. So yeah, he's exciting, this player. They're going to have Sterling, Torres, Mahrez. Oh God, it's going to be so good to watch in the Premier League.
They've got, and Man City ain't stopping there. Trust me, they're
oh
going.
No, they're going. They carry on.
FFP's been relaxed, and so has Sheikh Mansour's wallet. Jerome, who have you got next?
So, I have got a player from Italy called Sandro Tonali.
I must have done this on purpose, people. So another thing, I'm going to jump forward again. Yeah, transfer roundup. Rewind. Sandro Tonali is just about to sign for Inter Milan, 35 million euros. We broke it We gave you the news. I didn't break the news. I heard it somewhere ages ago. Tonali's already signed an agreement with Inter Milan. So all the to-ing and froing with who's he going to go to before, we all knew that he was going to go to Inter Milan, and it's just a case of him signing, working out an agreement with Brescia, and that's been done. That was done, I think, on Thursday, and it's 35 million euros agreed. Sorry, Jerome, your turn. Go on.
Yeah, no, that's all right. Yeah, so he was what I'd describe as for people that have watched him play, he's an all-action central midfielder. He can do the lot. If you watch clips of him, obviously, you know, he's got the attributes that you'd expect from a central midfielder: good passing range, very solid. But you'll see him pop up on the wing, and he'll start taking on a player down the wing. He's already made 83 appearances, and he's only 20 years old. Inter Milan have done very well to sign this guy. He seems to play with a lot of like energy and purpose and effort. He really looks like a great player, and I'm surprised. You know, he wasn't sort of mentioned going to other teams. But obviously Inter Milan have got, stolen a march from everyone else.
I feel like it might be a bit of probably he wants to stay in Italy. I think that could be a little bit of it. And there was probably talks with a lot of clubs about this kid long before an agreement was signed or that he was fully interested in going to Inter Milan. I got the feeling that the Inter Milan, they'd probably spoken to each other quite a few times and another number of clubs, and him going to have talks with Inter Milan was basically sign and seal and delivering the deal at the end of the day. But he's a player that everyone's going to know about, touch wood, no injuries, whatever. But this kid has got it all. They say he's a DM, but he's more than that. He's, as Jerome said, he could be running down the wing. I think as he matures when he gets older, he'd just be that perfect central midfielder. Pirlo loves him, so I love him. Steve, who you got next?
I got a centre forward, and this kid's is a player.
Oh God, we're here till 12 o'clock, everyone.
No, it's not that long actually. It's not that long.
Go on. Who you got,
Steve? He plays for Fiorentina. He's a centre forward. He's big. He's powerful. He's like what we'd call like an old-fashioned centre forward. He's valued at around about 20 million. He was born in Yugoslavia, like war-torn Yugoslavia. And he's a real handful, kid. He was actually the same as that. Yeah, cool. He's that. He's one of them. He's just like the back. He's a real handful, this kid, a right handful. And sometimes a bit cocky, loves himself too much, but when you can play and when you can do what he does on the pitch, if you got it, then do it and flaunt it. And he's certainly got it. He's got a cannon of a left foot, a typical old-fashioned centre forward, a bit like.
Are we saying he's like Batistuta?
No, Alan Shearer, I'd say. A bit like Alan Shearer. Alan Shearer in the making.
Go on.
A match for any central defender. I mean, a good day for any defender that comes up against Dusan would be for them to be injured. Because he is something else. And only in the last couple of weeks, he has been having talks with AC Milan as eventually a replacement for Ibrahimovic. So,
boom.
Yeah.
Okay, we done the Golden Boy Awards, but we also added a bit of transfer roundup in there, warming you up for the transfer roundup, which is coming right now. Oh, let's change that. Let's give it. Boom. Boom. Bada. All right, people, it's the transfer roundup time. I need some dramatic music like do 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 do, like that kind of stuff. I need some fireworks for this. I soon will. Let's go. Okay, German giants Bayern Munich have held talks with Norwich right back Max Aarons. We're going to go straight to Steve on this one. Steve, tell everyone a little bit about the insider knowledge that you've got from the Max Aarons and Bayern Munich talk. Go on.
They've gone over there, they've kicked him out the backside, and now he's back in Norwich again. That's about where that one goes. He's literally gone over there with his representatives and laid it on the line, so I've been told, right, that he wants to be, the only way he will sign for Bayern Munich is if he's got first-team football. And Bayern Munich have basically said, no chance, who do you think you are? No one makes them type of, demands. And now he's on his way back. And now the only place I see that's in for him now is Spurs. And they won't pay the money. So it looks like, Max Aarons could possibly be in the Championship again this season.
Yeah, and I mean, you probably need to conduct yourself slightly a bit differently when you go into like 11, 14, 15-time German champions, Champions League winners. You're going to the best in Germany. Like, you just got relegated from a team in the Premier League, mate. Like, I thought
he was nailed on for Tottenham, me. I really thought it was.
Yeah,
but
I mean,
they haven't got Europe now. At the minute, they haven't got Europe. They've got to qualify.
Yeah, well, it's yeah. I mean, you want first team football, but come on, like Pavard, Kimmich. I know Kimmich moved to midfield, but Pavard and Kimmich, like, come on, come on, man. You at least say, oh, I want to know that if I fight for my place, I can get that first team spot. Yeah, but going and to Bayern Munich and saying you've got to be a first team regular, you ain't there, mate. Trust me, you're quite a bit further than that.
No, that's done. That is.
It's over. Millwall have re-signed Ryan Woods and have taken Tottenham striker Tony Parrott on loan. Liverpool confirmed the signing of. Liverpool have confirmed that Croatian centre-back Dejan Lovren has gone to Zenit St. Petersburg. Willian, Chelsea winger, has turned down 3 offers from Chelsea. They offered him a 3-year contract in the end. It looks like he's turned it down. Sporting Lisbon are close to signing Manchester City right back Pedro Porro. West Brom held talks with Jesse Lingard, and Leicester have also inquired about the forward. Leicester fans were not happy about that. Arsenal making an offer of 25 million plus Matthew Guendouzi for Thomas Partey is old news, people. It's old news. That's a deal that was offered to him, I think, last week before, and then
that's just 2.5 weeks ago.
It's what it is the newspapers are a bit slow. They're a bit slow to catch the news. I don't know whether they're doing their due diligence to see how real it is, but they're just not that fast for news. So sometimes you end up hearing it twice. You'll hear it from us, and then you'll hear it from the papers, which is what confirms that was the deal that was trying to go through. But I fully think now that Arsenal will pay that release clause for Thomas Partey. Edison Cavani looks like he's on his way to Benfica after agreeing personal terms. Cameroon under-17 midfielder Steve Mavui has officially signed for Toulouse. He didn't actually have a team, and he was instilled into the top 60 youth players born after 2002, which is crazy. To not have a team and still be in that list, he's an obvious talent. Juventus have agreed personal terms with Napoli and Poland international Milik. Wilfried Zaha has been linked with Everton, Arsenal, Leeds, and Sheffield United. Simon, give us a little insider knowledge on that, please.
Well, with Wilfried Zaha, what I've been told, basically, is that he's agreed personal terms with Arsenal, he's agreed personal terms with Everton, and he's not agreed personal terms yet with Sheffield United, but his agent has been in touch with Sheffield United. So he's got his options, basically. His number one option, obviously, is Arsenal. Boyhood club, wants to move to Arsenal. But Arsenal are still keeping the reservations open at the minute, because Lacazette, it all depends on Lacazette, basically. But with Wilfried Zaha, he's agreed, like I said, personal terms. The fee's been agreed with Crystal Palace, 42.5 million. This is what I've been told. And he's agreed personal terms with Everton and a fee as well, because that would have been done last year, but they ran out of time. So technically it's the same thing. They've just gone back to it. But with Zaha, he's come out and he's told Roy Hodgson that he wants to leave. He's been honest. He's been genuine. He's done it with respect. He hasn't kicked off. He just wants to move to the next level. That's what he wants. But with Sheffield United, they're very keen on him, and they are happy to pay big money for him as well. Sheffield are going to make some really good signings this summer. I can guarantee you that.
Thank you very much, Simon. Good work there, man. Barcelona's Arthur has refused to return to the club ahead of a move to Juventus. Jerome, you was looking into that for me, weren't you, mate? What's that?
Yeah, it's quite simply. He's agreed this deal with the swap deal with Pjanic from Barca to Juventus and vice versa. And obviously the deal's already been done. They know it's happening, and he just believes that his time at the club is over now, and he hasn't returned to training. He's still in Brazil. And he's just sort of, I guess you can call it, throw your toys out the pram, or I guess the better way of putting it would be he's just being very unprofessional. He's got a contract with the club. They've got Champions League games to play, and he's just point blank refused to go back to training. Obviously, the Barca fans are unhappy about it. Apparently, the Barca fans are unhappy about the deal in general because Pjanic is 7 years older than Arthur.
Yeah.
So I don't think they're happy about that in the first place. And this has just sort of compounded their misery, really. But yeah, that's the deal with Arthur.
Yeah, I mean, you sort of got a feel for Arthur a little bit. The guy's been brought over from Brazil. He's had a year in Barcelona, and he's then been shipped out to Italy because they need to make some money or balance the books. He's kind of been sold a dream and then fobbed off for like a commodity. It's one that didn't quite sit well with me when the players turning around. And he made it very clear he does not want to leave. He doesn't want to go. He's heart set on playing for Barcelona. He's not done bad at all, and they've moved him on because they've found a loophole and found a way of making money in the transfer market. Yeah, it's a bit of a sticky one for me, and I mean, if I don't feel sorry for Barcelona in this situation at all, if I'm honest. And I really don't. It's not professional. It's not professional. I admit it's completely not professional. But he didn't want to go. He didn't want to go, and he's been forced out of the club for Barcelona to make money. So it kind of serves them right because with a lot of things they're doing with their players recently, it don't kind of sit right with me, and I think they're gonna. This is one that's put him back in the arse. So
you know what? These situations can be avoided if players, sign for other clubs once the season's finished. When the season's still going and it's out in the public domain that a player's moved, then there's a chance that these situations, can arise.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, spot on. Yeah,
you're right. James Maddison signed an extension on his contract to 2024, and he's on $100,000 a week. Celtic have signed AEK Athens goalkeeper Vales Barkas for $4.5 million on a 4-year deal. The Mail are reporting that defender Otamendi is on his way to Real Betis. We spoke about that last week. It's just been revealed in the papers on Thursday. Man City are set to sign Real's under 21 defender Cameron Cox after he's released from Cardiff. Lille are in negotiations with Angel Gomez, former player of Man United. We spoke about earlier, Gabriel Magalhaes is his favourites to join either Everton or Napoli. You'll find out this week. RB Salzburg playmaker Dominic Sabetsia looks like he could have to choose another team after the move to AC Milan looks all but done after Ragnick didn't take the job. Cambridge have signed former Norwich player Wes Hoolahan. Wow, what a signing for Cambridge. Wes Hoolahan can still do bits, mate. I see him score absolute weldies. Great signing for them. Bayern Munich have accepted a €30 million bid for Thiago Alcantara. Is that true, Steve?
No.
Yeah.
No, not that I've heard. Normally before I go on the show, I go to. There's been no. It's simple as there's been no bid. There's been no bid, so there's not a lot to say on that.
Yeah. Can we get an Ozan Kabak update?
Yep. Ozan Kabak. Now it seems that the number one target for Ozan Kabak is Liverpool. Klopp's shown his interest. Kabak has been quoted in his own words that he wants to move to Merseyside. I found out today that that's true. So yeah, Ozan Kabak now. Spurs have been messing about. We actually said on the show, you Spurs, you mess about. You do mess about with your signings, and now it looks like Kabak could be on his way to Liverpool.
I think what it is with Tottenham is they hope that that the player only wants to go to them, and they try to use that as leverage to work down the price. But it doesn't always happen. I mean, you can play that game, but it's a dangerous game. But I mean, that it happens. So Weston McKennie, do we have an update on that?
We have. Yeah, this was the most one. I got quite excited on of the day. the club that's in pole position now that I was told today is Southampton to sign. Weston McKennie, and this is to replace Holberg. Holberg when he leaves. So it was one of them.
Yeah, that's
although I wasn't, I didn't have the person like face to face. I was like, started nodding my head. It makes 100%, and that is definitely one to keep an eye on. Weston McKennie has had early talks with Southampton to replace Pierre Holberg of Southampton.
All right, great stuff there, Steve. Celtic are out the race for Ivan Toney. You were saying the other day that they're not putting enough money down, and it looks like that is the case.
Since day one, since we started the Ivan Toney story. Since day one, I was told that Peterborough wanted 10 to 12 million to someone very close to Toney. So when Celtic was offered 5 million, I said Celtic out the running, like end of story. Today, the Peterborough chairman's come out, Darren McAntony, and he's literally told Celtic, stop taking the mickey out of me. You either pay the 10 million or he's not going to your club. So, perfectly blunt, you're not getting that Ivan Toney, Celtic, or anybody else for £10 million. You've got to pay the 10 million. But we've said that since day one. We've said that since day
5
one.
million. It's kind of like when they said 12, normal negotiations are like 10, like not 5. I mean, come on, it's. Yeah.
When you see the chairman come out and quote it, it's a good thing because you know that you've been told the right thing all along. So it's good.
Yeah. And Everton have advanced talks with Branislav Ivanovic. There was a lot of talk about that one the other day. People not happy about it. People saying that Ancelotti needs to not sign old players. Well, it's balance. If you're going to have a young squad, you've got to have a bit of experience there. And I'm guessing that Branislav Ivanovic should be more of a player that he trusts, that he knows will do a job that he wants to do. David Alaba's representatives are not happy with the hierarchy at Bayern Munich, backtracking on a promise of a new bumper deal. He's only got 1 year left of his contract. Surely David Alaba is going to find a club soon. If there's got to be a club out there that's going to buy David Alaba. He's one of the best versatile defenders on the planet. Like there's got to. I'm surprised Chelsea, City are not sniffing around, but we'll come to the links that City have where they want to fill in at left back. Crystal Palace are interested in Ismail Assar of Watford and Danny Welbeck. Joshua King linked to Everton. I remember Steve telling you that earlier. Also, David Brooks has been linked with Everton. Emi Buendia, interest from Leeds. Steve spoke about it last week, and it's come out in the papers this week. Stephen Fletcher to Celtic. Looks like you're saying.
Yeah, I've heard it. It looks like I was told by someone that Stephen Fletcher will be going to Celtic next week, which we had a little smile about. I don't know why, but he's a good player, Stephen Fletcher. He's been around the grounds. He's always done a good job. But when I put down the phone, I linked it to the Ivan Toney thing that they was pulling out.
Yeah,
I think, hold on a minute. This is timing, isn't it? They've pulled out of that. They've been told off by the chairman of Peterborough, and now all of a sudden next week they're signing Stephen Fletcher.
Acting quick.
I don't think you'll see exactly yet.
Yeah. Besiktas are on the verge of signing Ghana and Black Stars winner Edrin Gassi from FC Dallas. The move is meant to be done already, but Besiktas are getting rid of all their players first. The players that they want to depart, they're getting them all out, and they're probably going to do a grand unveiling in the next day, probably, or the following week, with all the players that they're bringing in. I don't know what they're doing. It's probably to balance the books as well, and it helps the accountants sort out stuff. Watford are in talks with Maccabi Tel Aviv former Maccabi Tel Aviv manager Valimir Inkev to be the new manager. Manchester United have turned their attentions to Donny van der Beek. Simon, can we have a little chat about this?
Yeah, we can have a little chat. What do you want to know? What do you want to know?
Like, look, if we Man United, Donny van der Beek. I don't know how many times we've mentioned Donny van der Beek is going to Real Madrid. Now, I could look like an idiot right now because anything can change in football. Anything can change in football. But there's been nothing to suggest that Donny van der Beek has changed his mind and wants to go to Man United. In fact, I've heard that he's turned down Man United twice.
Yeah.
Because he wants to go to Real Madrid.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, there's this talk of Donny van der Beek going to Man United. Not that
obviously, it's chucking a player in there. Newspapers run with it, and it's clickbait. The most reliable person that you want to talk to about Donny van der Beek or anyone at Ajax is James Rowe, or a friend on the channel. Go follow him, James Rowe. He will tell you exactly, with any Dutch player, where they're going. The most reliable person to go and speak to. He said from day one, he's even get up telling people on Twitter that Donny van der Beek's going to Real Madrid. He's actually not telling anyone anymore.
Yeah, it's they don't listen. People don't listen. And when the person's right, they disappear. Manchester United and Man City have placed bids for Angers left back Ryan Etnari. Jerome, you did a little piece on Ryan Etnari a while back. What kind of a player would they be getting?
Oh, he's an excellent left back. Is the very short answer to that. Very pacey, very tricky, skillful. He's quite slight but very aggressive. Yeah, he looked. If either of those sign him, that's a cracking signing.
Yeah, it is. Newcastle takeover's done. They pulled out. There was too much and ahhing. There was too much resistance against it. And
we don't mean done as it's finished. We mean it's done.
Yeah, it's over. It's not happening. There's too much resistance. I didn't like it. Rangers have agreed to deal for Bafana star midfielder Bolanga Zunga for €4 million. Lacazette is wanted by Inter Milan and Juventus. We spoke about earlier the whole Lacazette, Zaha. It's for Zaha to come to Arsenal. Lacazette would have to leave. I'm not 100% sure that Lacazette's going to be at Arsenal next season. I mean, it's a bit. There's noises are coming out now that Juventus and Inter Milan are going to make a bid for him.
There's been some rumours today about Ousmane Dembele as well from Latin Sport. I can confirm that that's rubbish. I've done some digging into it. I've spoke to some people, and they've just gone now. It's just clickbait.
Thank
basically.
You very much. That, Simon, love that. That's what we're here for as well. Memphis Depay is favourite to replace Jadon Sancho at Borussia Dortmund. Whew. I think he's matured now. I don't know whether that's true. I heard that they were in for the guy from Werder Bremen. Is he Kosovan? I can't remember his name. He's an absolute baller. I can't remember his name. Werder Bremen. Ajax defender Joel Veltman has signed for Brighton. If you're on our Twitter, James Rowe done a tiny little write-up about what kind of a player he is, and it looks like Brighton have got a very good player for just under £1 million. Lille have signed 2-year signed former Beşiktaş and Turkish striker Burak Yilmaz on a 2-year deal. Makes sense because it looks like that Chuba Akpom is going the other direction and going to be replacing him at Beşiktaş, and a fee has been agreed there, and Arsenal get 30% of the sell-on. PSG could hijack Liverpool's move for playmaker Thiago Alcantara. Jerome, you looked into that one, didn't you? Is the PSG bid real?
It's from what I saw, I think it is. They have possibly bid for him, and I think that move would make sense. You know what? I'm so surprised that they would be open to offers for him because he's such a good player. and they wouldn't be getting exactly a humongous fee for him either. It's not like a a 50, 60 million pound fee. They're talking like 30 million euros. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's they're I don't want to say they're powerless, but they're in a position where the player doesn't want to sign a contract. It looks like he wants more money. It seems like at Bayern Munich, it gets to a point where it's, if you don't like the deal, then go. And the players are like, okay, I'll go. I've been here for however long. I've won a lot here. Maybe it's time for a new challenge, and to on my final contract get a big pay packet. It's no surprise that players like David Alaba and Thiago Alcantara, who's coming up to what is their peak and probably their final big contract opportunity, are looking elsewhere to make that money as well. So I wouldn't be surprised if I see both of them at different clubs next season or even the season after. Leeds are interested in Club Brugge striker Dennis Emmanuel. Chelsea have made an offer for Tess Stegen. Ryan Jackson of Gillingham has signed for Colchester. Higuain could potentially be going to Lazio for 4.5 million euros. And Mohamed Sassoulou, he's moved to Southampton, will be completed next week. We spoke to our guy Samuel yesterday. He gave us exclusives or updates on the Sassoulou deal. He gave a bit of reasoning as to why he wanted to join Southampton. He wanted to join Southampton because he felt that their record of developing players is excellent. He was also in talks with Newcastle, but the takeover issues put him off. So there's another bit for you guys at Newcastle. Their players have been put off by the issues, the uncertainty of the takeover talk. And also a little bit of, if anyone's missed anything on the Thomas Partey update, Thomas Partey, who's a friend of Edwin Gaessi, who is a friend of our friend Samuel. Yep, okay, we've got friends of friends of friends of friends who are connected to people. And the update on that is Thomas Partey's relaxed on the situation. He fully feels that he's got no worries about the deal going through. With regards to that, it's just a case, it's down to Arsenal. Please remember this, people. It's down to Arsenal on the Thomas Partey deal. He's happy to come to Arsenal. He's not speaking about moving to Arsenal because he's got class. He's still contracted to Atletico Madrid. They gave him the platform, and he's not the kind of player to shit on the team that's given him the platform and put him in a position to where he is now, to where he's regarded as one of the top midfielders in the world. And you've got to respect that, and you've got to love that, because a lot of that is not happening recently when it comes to transfers. People trying to, what I feel is, appease the fans rather than being good businessmen, which you've got to have a good balance if you want to work with these people. And that is it. Unless, boys, if I've missed any exclusives, Steve's moving his glasses. He's about to look at his book. Steve, if I've missed any exclusives, jump in now before I press end broadcast.
You've missed two.
Simon, hit me.
There's just goes on.
Leicester and Everton have both in advanced talks with Celtic striker Odsonne Edouard.
Oh. Very good, very good.
And the other one is, now that Arsenal have Europa League football, there's
that's it.
There is a 90% chance that Arsenal could sign him in the next, this window. It was at 40% because we didn't have Europa League football. We had to win a final. He's had discussions with Arsenal. This deal is not close. It's still a long way to go. Arsenal were watching him in the final in France. Obviously not going to the ground because they can't go in the ground, but they can still watch him. They're happy with what they've seen. Arteta has scouted this lad for 2 years with Pep Guardiola. Pep Guardiola has seen what he's like and actually fell in love with the player, but Arteta has done the groundwork at City. And Hossim Hayor, basically from 40%, has said to Arsenal, if you're in a European competition, is happy to sign for Arsenal. So now Arsenal have got to get the deal over the line, but they still have to sort out salary. They still have to sort out the wages, the fee, and all that. It is a long way to go, but it's 90%. I know you're going to be thinking, well, how's it 90%? That's pretty much done. Don't believe trolls on Twitter or anything. This deal now is very, very possible. Very possible.
Yeah,
and we don't have to do a swap. We don't have to do a swap.
Yeah. What it is when Simon's talking about 90%, it was 40% that we were even going to go in for it if we didn't get into Europe. It's now cranked up because Arsenal in Europe. Mikel Arteta is an admirer of Jose Mayor, and they've been in contact. And as we said, I wouldn't be surprised if there was contact this week, and a few stories came out that Jose Mayor had been in talks with Arsenal, and they're trying to sort out a deal with Lyon. So watch that space. Steve, did you have one for me?
Nothing as exciting as what Simon had, but
don't worry, they're all excited for someone, mate.
Just Ivan Rakitic, we spoke about it before the show. He's on the verge of signing for Seville for 10 million euro. Yep. And that will probably be done next week.
All right, sweet. Thank you very much, boys. All your hard work, dedication is greatly appreciated, not just by me, but by the people that are watching tonight and the people watching later on. Thank you for everyone in the comment section. I'm seeing names: Goodwin, Jonathan. You know, I see you on the Twitter. The Governor, Ljungberg Camp. Oh, love it. Realist. Another Jonathan. Everton fans, thank you for coming in. I see you in the comment section. Don't be shy. Don't just come here because it was Everton. Come here every week. You never know. You want to keep John Abraham. Yes, it is Kieran from Blood Brothers. You want to keep up with the latest transfer news? You want to keep up with the latest transfer news? You come out and check us at the Transfer Exchange. We're on Instagram. We're on Twitter. And obviously, every Sunday at 8 o'clock, we're on KS1 TV. Make sure you share this. Don't make me check if you've liked the video, because I know you have. I knew you wouldn't still be here if you didn't like it. Share it with your mates and tell them that we are the on the ball when it comes to transfers. All right, and we cut through all the crap as well. Thank you to all my scouts. Steve, thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for joining us this evening, everybody.
Simon, thank you very much.
Yep, cheers, everyone. All Everton fans that have watched, like the video, subscribe.
I hope we've done you boys justice. I try not to rip people apart. I just try to be honest not in the nicest way. I just try to be honest. I try to be honest. And I hope, Jason,
Ben, Stephen, Elisa, who's the other one? Oh, and Caroline. We promise. I'll talk to Kieran. We will try and do a Sheffield United one for you. We'll try.
We'll do one. No, we will. We will. Next week, heads up, we're going to do a bit of a Newcastle one. I don't know who the other team is going to be, but we're definitely going to be talking about the Newcastle takeover that didn't happen and potential players that are going to be after from the budget they've got now, which I'm hearing is 35 million. And that's 35 million including wages. So when we say that a club has 100 million, 70 million to spend in the transfer market, we mean that's wages and fees included in that. We're not talking about you have 100 million pounds to spend on players. That includes wages, agents' fees, and anything like that. All right? So don't dig us out and tell us we're talking rubbish, because we're not. All right? We do our due diligence. We've worked very hard to find sources that are very credible. Danny Ceballos, Goodwin. I'm hoping that we sign Arsenal sign him on a permanent deal. I'm hearing that they're working on it, and it's down to Danny Ceballos. That's all we know from that one. Jerome, the marksman. Thank you very much for tonight.
Cheers, guys. Have a good week, everyone.
No, thank you very much, people. Again, thank you for watching. Peace out.